2025 has finally come to an end. And with it, there's been so many incredible films that came out this year, but also quite a few not great ones, let's be honest. And here today, I'm going to give you my ranking and opinions of every film and TV show as well, but not, there's only one, but still, that I watched that came out in 2025 so far. Now let me keep this brief. A couple of these films are from 2024, but they were released in 2025 in the UK. So technically it doesn't count, but I'm still counting them anyways, mainly because I want to talk about them as well. Additionally, there are going to be many films that I have not watched that came out in 2025, and I'll mention some of those at the end of the video. So if you're wondering where those are, I have not watched them. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to the bad ones.
Number 34, The Twits.
Out of all the films that I've watched that was released in 2025, this film ticks me off the most. It is an adaptation on one of my favourite authors of all time. I grew up with Roald Dahl, I loved his books, and The Twits, alongside Fantastic Mr. Fox, was my favourite. The Twits was my favourite. And the fact that they bastardized the version of the Twits really frustrates me. None of the characters are interesting or likable. The story is nonsensical and just bizarre. There are way too many crude jokes to the point where I actually felt like I was going to throw up at sometimes. Additionally, the animation is quite ugly and the character designs don't fare any better. I will say that the main character is somewhat interesting, even though that I really couldn't care about her struggles or her story whatsoever. This is a nothing film from Netflix with nothing characters, nothing stories, and just nothing everything. I wish I did not watch this film, but I went ahead and watched it, and now I'm forever burdened with watching it. Yay, thank you for that. Yeah, it is not the worst film in the world, obviously. I'd only give it like a 3 or a 4 out of 10, but it really frustrates me and it really pisses me off to no end, simply because it's an adaptation on The Twits by Roald Dahl, and I guarantee you that Roald Dahl will be twitching and rolling in his grave right now if he knew that his film was being butchered and bastardized to this degree.
Number 33, Captain America, Brave New World.
Out of all the superhero films that came out this year, this one's definitely the worst out of the bunch. You were expecting something worse than this? Don't worry, that one's coming later. Yeah, quite frankly, they really should have just left this film alone and just let it be what it was going to originally be. Sure, it would have probably been as bad, but hey, at least it's not a messy, incoherent, quite frankly, not good whatsoever mess with not very interesting characters, butchered characters that have returned previously, and a premise and execution that really did not live up to the hype whatsoever. They only showed Red Hulk in the last 10 minutes, and the leader is ruined from the setup that came from all the way from phase 1. How do you ruin something like that? At least the leader is not a leftover plot point, but really they should have done something way more better with him. But yeah, Sam is kind of a butchered character now. I mean, he's more interesting than he was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but is that really a high praise? No, it's not. Quite frankly, I just couldn't care. I'm very glad I did not watch this in theaters, and I'm not glad at all that I actually watched this in the first place.
Number 32, Snow White.
Now here's the film everyone would have expected to be in last place. And boy, is it... It's not good, but it's entertaining. That's the best way I could say. Including all the drama, everything Rachel Zegler ever said, every single controversy that this film ever got, and probably will still be getting by the time that this decade is ended, if Rachel Zegler continues with her streak with stuff like that. It is abysmal. Ignoring all that, it's just a fine... Actually, no, it's just a not good at all film, but with some entertaining things here and there. I did find Rachel Zegler to be a competent actress and an incredible singer and all that. I ironically enjoyed Gal Gadot's acting, even though it's not that good. Though I do really like her villain song in this, unironically, let's be honest. The dwarfs should have been casted by real dwarf actors. It felt like that. It honestly feels like this film is 2 films spliced into one that is not coherent at all. Ooh, one part is just natural, real life filmmaking, and the other one is just green screen effects. The end reminds me of Midsummer, even though I've never watched that film, which is not a good thing to thinking about when the only thing you're thinking about for an ending is one of the most traumatizing films that ever came out in the 2010s. I'm only saying that from what I've heard, but still, this is not a good film in the slightest. It has its charm, it's entertaining, I guess, but really, this is something I'm never going to watch again, and the only thing I'll ever unironically experience with this is the villain song by the Evil Queen and the Hi Ho song, and that's it. Nothing in this is good. It's much better than the last two films, but is that really a high bar? No, it's not.
Number 31, Lilo and Stitch.
Now here's the other live action remake. It is slightly better because at least it looks like a real film and not a green screen effect. I do like the CGI with Stitch in this. He's very adorable, and I'm glad they didn't ruin his design by making him live action. Though really, the rest of the characters don't fare much better. They got rid of Drag Pleakley. How dare they? They made Jumba the villain, and they got rid of Gantu. Why do that? They also got rid of Jumba's Russian accent for some reason, and I don't really like that. Quite frankly, everything about this film is just lesser in this film, but lesser than the original film, but they managed to ruin it even more by the stupid ending where Nani goes off to college instead of staying behind and looking after Lilo. I mean, that's the biggest thing everyone's criticized about this, the fact that they it goes against the original story's message, and I don't really like that. I mean, it's just alright, I guess. Every character from the original film is lesser in this. Bubbles is not the understanding, but what must be done, what's done must be done type of ordeal. And quite frankly, everything about this film is just worse in every way. I will never watch this again, but it was a nice time just watching it with my mum whilst everyone else is out. A nice movie night, I guess.
Number 30, The Electric State.
This is not the terrible film that everyone expected, in my opinion at least. I found it to be a lot more entertaining than people would give it originally, but it is definitely not a good film. The Russo brothers' track record is just down spiraling ever since Endgame, and I'm not sure if Doomsday is going to fare any better. I will talk about the trailers sometime in February. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean the characters aren't that interesting. The CGI is good, I will say that, but really the story doesn't fare any at all. It's just something we've already seen, and it's quite frankly a bastardization of the original story. And anyone who's a fan of the original story is not gonna enjoy this adaptation whatsoever. I've never read the original story, but I'm sure I'll be deeply offended, much like I was with the Twits, by them ruining a story that holds deeply to my soul. Anyways, the last thing I'll say is that the peanut robot looks like a character from Five Nights at Freddy's. My dad mentioned that when he first saw the trailers, and I will never get that out of my head now. Thank you, Dad.
Number 29, Elio.
God, Pixar really hasn't been faring that great, let's be honest. I will say this is not as terrible as I was expecting, but it is not good at all. The main thing that gets on my nerves is the main character, Elio. He's so unlikable, and he does things that goes against what everyone else is trying to tell him to do. He messes up so many times. He's the reason for the central conflict, and it feels like that he never grows or learns any lesson. And quite frankly, none of the film would have happened if he just stayed put and didn't continue to be an annoying little shit. Yeah, and quite frankly, he's just got on my nerves a lot of the time. He's just not likable in the first 30 minutes. I will say his friendship with the slug alien is sweet, I guess. The villain is something. The animation is Bean Mouth, and we all love Bean Mouth in CG, especially in Pixar. Quite frankly, this was just a waste of time, and I never wanted to watch it, but I decided to watch it anyways, just so that this list is actually over 30 films. Yay. Thank you, past me. I got to watch a horrible Pixar film that is just not good in the slightest. It's not the worst thing, I guess, but really, just watch anything else pre-Cars 2 from Pixar. You'll be getting a lot more that is better than this.
Number 28, The Woman in Cabin 10.
I was surprised by this. It is not great, but it's not bad. I will say the main twist does feel predictable, and we have seen that before. I was expecting something a lot more interesting than what we got, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I like Keira Knightley's performance. I thought she was good in this. I think a lot of the cinematography and the editing is done really well. The acting is all right all around. I found the story to be interesting and the mystery to be equally as interesting, even though it did feel a bit predictable at times, and I was just waiting for the reveal to be over and all that. But hey, it was a solid enough time, and I like it, but it is not anything better than 20 odd other films, let's be honest.
Number 27, Mickey 17.
Being the follow-up of Best Picture Oscar winner Parasite, Bong Joon-ho, this is a massive letdown. And to be honest, I've never felt more mixed with a film. I mean, it has some good moments here. It has some good moments, and the story is good. All that. I like Mickey 17 as a character. A lot of the characters were interesting. I thought Not Orange Man was funny, even though that the joke got old at the time. And a lot of the slack on a lot of things just got old, let's be honest. I was just getting a bit bored and all that. But hey, it was fine, I guess. But I've never felt more mixed with a film. It is something that I don't get half the time. A lot of the times it's just, why is this happening? Can you just move the plot along? Are you going to cheat on your girlfriend with this hot girl? Even though that she's technically cheating on you with yourself. But he's a clone. All of this actually happened in the films. Yeah. I mean, it's fine, I guess, but I'm never going to watch it again. And considering the fact that I did watch Parasite before watching this, it doesn't fare any better after doing that.
Number 26, In Your Dreams.
This is a weird film, I guess. I mean, the central conflict is interesting. The story is fine, I guess, and the characters have good dynamics and all that, and the emotional moments, especially near the end, is really sweet. But it's just more kiddie stuff that you're just going to find anywhere else, with nothing compelling, with a lot of the characters feeling a bit sidelined and all that, and a lot of things just feeling predictable and all that. I feel like making the Sandman in this, just making him the third act twist villain, was not the route that would have made something very interesting. I would have rather him to be a more complex character than just being a villain and all that. But hey, that's just my opinion. I found the emotional connection between the siblings to be interesting enough. Though the giraffe that tags along them in their dreams... yeah, it's by the title. It's the title. He just got annoying, and he also is stuffed with salami by the annoying little brother. That giraffe needs a wash. That is not right. That is absolutely not right. I mean, it's much better than the rest of the films underneath this, but it is something that I was hoping to be a lot better than I was expecting, especially with some good talent behind this. And Krista Milioti is in this, and she is the average mum, even though that Krista Milioti looks like this, and the character in this film looks like this. Why? Just why? Yeah. I'm never going to watch it again. I might do sometime down the line if I feel like it, but hey. It's a decent time, I guess.
Number 25, Dogman.
Well, here's the DreamWorks film of this list. I'd say it's enjoyable enough. I like the connection between Dogman and Little PT in this. It was very sweet. And I also really like the connection that Dogman has with society and all that, feeling like an outcast. It was really something interesting. I like the animation. It was very cute. The fact that it looks like a cardboard cutout and all that. The jokes are all stellar, just piling on one after another, and it's just really funny. I will say PT being the villain. He's the most interesting character out of the bunch, and I like that he has a pseudo arc of becoming more good instead of the villain that he thought he was destined to be. And his his father-son relationship with Lil Peep was really sweet. I really like that. Yeah, it is definitely a lot better than the rest of these films, but I was hoping for something way better than this. Probably something on the lines of Captain Underpants was. That was a really good film, and this one is just a good film that I really like. It's not a bad thing, but hey, I was expecting more. But yeah, it's good.
Number 24, Heart Eyes.
For being an interesting enough spin on the slasher genre, with it being a parody of Halloween and all that, being a Valentine's Day killer instead of a Halloween killer, it was interesting enough. I like the shtick of the whole thing, even though the reveal of the killer at the end is very much random and it does not make sense at all. But hey, it was enjoyable beforehand. I like the connection between the two main leads, and their romance felt a bit natural and all that. I feel like the pacing was a bit all over the place, and I think a few more scenes here and there would have been better suited to make the film flow a lot better, as well as a few moments taken out here and there to make it feel a lot more natural and all that. But hey, as a cheesy, fun slasher thriller, it is good. I like it. Has a bunch of good jokes. It has really interesting and good heartfelt moments, but it is not anything that you're gonna uh, stand up and just clap in the Oscars and all that. It's just fine.
Number 23, The Fantastic Four First Steps.
So this came out, and it is a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Quite frankly, I still don't think that they truly mastered the Fantastic Four. I think the 2005, 2000, yeah, sure, I think the 2005 version of the Fantastic Four is a weaker film, but I would much sooner rewatch that because there's a lot more interesting moments. There's a hot nurse skiing with Chris Evans whilst he's snowboarding, and there's actually good emotional moments in that film. Whereas this one's is just standard, forgettable, and just not really that interesting. I mean, the cast is fine, I guess. I'm not one who's a big fan of Pedro Pascal anymore, but he was fine. The rest of the cast is solid enough. I like that Galactus is actually a character instead of a giant space thing. I, for one, found this interesting enough, and I'm wondering how the Fantastic Four are going to fare in Doomsday, which I'm expecting it to not be that great, let's be honest. Overall, it's good enough, I guess, but really, they should have done something way better than just not really that great.
Number 22, Wicked for Good.
For being the part two, it's all right. It's a good film, but it's kind of a letdown. It feels like a lot of the characters are kind of wasted in the end, especially with the characters who become the Wizard of Oz characters in the end. It felt like that a lot of them were just, they had major moments in the first half, but then they just get forgotten until they showed up again. It really wasn't that good of a writing. I will say it's an interesting enough and really compelling tragedy between Elphaba and Glinda. It was really something, and I found the characters to be interesting when they were properly utilized. And the Wizard of Oz, he was fun, and I love Jeff Goldblum. He's great. The songs are all good. As Long as Your Mind is my favorite out of the bunch. I'm probably debating whether that or Popular is going to be my favorite out of both films. But really, I would sooner rewatch the first film because the characters felt a lot better utilized in that film. And quite frankly, it was a lot more of a engaging story. When really this one is just Wizard of Oz, but the Wicked Witch is the main character. And really, the way they did it in this film is not really that compelling. I was expecting a lot more with the Wizard of Oz, but hey, I can't have everything, I guess. It's good, but I don't know. I was expecting a lot more.
Number 21, Quiet Apocalypse.
Here's the only short out of the bunch. And I gotta say, for watching this, it is so good. But it's also right. But it's also not great. Yeah. And when I mean not great, I mean it's the best out of the 7 out of 10s. But I was expecting something really great. It's just really, really good, but not great yet. That might sound harsh, but it's just my ways of thinking, I guess. I really like this. It's a take on megalothic beings, like giant kaiju monsters and all that, but they are trapped on the planets, and they are just as scared of us as we are of them. That's some really compelling stuff. And I really like the visuals and all that, the black and white monochromatic style of the whole thing. The animation looks incredible, and it really makes you think about how sometimes even the monsters that we fear are kind of trapped in their own ways as much as we are trapped as well. It's really compelling, and I really like this. And I would really like to see what else this guy is cooking up. I mean, this Quiet Apocalypse is on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube right now, and it's really good. I really, really like this, and I would like to see what else you're going to do. If anything, I'd like a continuation on this to see what else happens. But hey, it is such a good, it is such a good short, and I'm really glad to have been this film to be the first 2025 film I watched at the beginning of the year.
Number 20, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Here's a hot take. I actually think this Rebirth is a good film. I don't care what you say. I really enjoyed this. I've never felt this tense for a character's safety in this film. I was watching it in the cinemas and I was awe-inspired, just waiting to see if a character is going to get killed or not. And I was just waiting to see what happened. I was tense throughout, from the Mosasaur chase to the Quetzalcoatlus duping to the T-Rex riverboat chase, which we finally got after all these years. It's just so good. I really, really like this. Sure, the story should have been a lot more fleshed out, a lot more interesting, but I think what we got is really solid, and I really liked this. I found the characters to be interesting. This plot was interesting enough, and the emotional connections between the characters definitely felt deserved, and I really like the way that they handled all the plot lines that was done in this. My only real critique, and spoiler alert, I do wish that they actually committed to killing off Mahershala Ali's character, because that would have properly wrapped up his character arc, and it would have made his character a lot more interesting, and it would have made the whole thing feel a lot more deserving, a lot more compelling, and all that. But that's just me. That's just my main critique and all that. And really, there was a lot of moments here and there that should have been changed and all that, but I'm not complaining at all. I really like this, and I'm glad to have watched this. If you don't like this film, then that's fine. This is just my opinion.
Number 19, Winter in March.
Hi, Future Me here. Here is a film that I literally just watched last week, so I'm including this now before I release the actual thing. Anyways, this is a short called Winter in March, as you probably have already seen beforehand. Yeah. And it's a short about a Russian couple trying to escape Russia, it's a Russian couple trying to escape Russia to get into Ukraine or some other neighboring country of Russia. And I thought it was good enough. For being a piece of political animation, it is investing. I found the story intriguing, and that's pretty much about it. It is something one might think could be the case when trying to understand those who live in hostile areas wanting to move away and be free from war-torn areas. And I felt for the couple. I like the stop motion and the sound of fabric tearing. That was really interesting. Yeah, it's good. There's not really much going on besides that. I liked it, and that's pretty much it.
Number 18, Thunderbolts.
Hi. I couldn't find the original clip of me recording Thunderbolts review, so here's a quick one. It's the best of the 3 Marvel films that came out this year. The cast is solid, the story is solid. I like the theming of it being about depression and all that, but it's just not really anything too outstanding. I'm very glad I didn't watch it when it came out in theaters, but hey, it's not terrible, it's not really anything special. Though it is a very fun time, even if it's not the best thing in the world.
Number 17, Asterix and Obelix, The Big Fight.
Alright, the TV show Asterix and Obelix, Le Big Fight. Well, it's more like a 5-part mini-series, but I liked it. It was fun. I think Asterix and Obelix needs to be a much more prominent part of the zeitgeist, or much more prominent part of pop culture, because they have some really funny moments, some really interesting characters and all that. I really liked this short. It was compelling to see the dynamics between Asterix and Obelix a lot, and the conflicts between all of them, it was really interesting. Obviously, they were fighting Julius Caesar again in Rome. That was cool. I like the modern day technology, but in old gold times. That was cute. That was fun. And the whole story was really compelling and interesting. I liked it all. I feel like that there's a lot of the characters weren't as well utilized as I was hoping them to be. And I think a lot of the and I think for the main girl on the Roman side, she should have just remained a villain instead of just flip-flopping her decision and all that. I just didn't really care about that, but hey, I'm not one to complain. I found this to be an enjoyable time. I really like this mini series, and I just found this to be, well, just a really good time. I really enjoyed it, and the English dub is fun because I watch English. So yeah, overall a good time. I really liked it. Yeah, check it out. It's on Netflix.
Number 16, a Minecraft movie.
This is everything I wanted it to be. It is dumb fun, horrible script, dog shit acting, mainly CGI, but I loved it. It was one of the best theater experiences that I ever had in 2025. I will never forget sitting there on the day before it released in the UK, surprisingly enough, where it was a packed theater and everyone was laughing at all the jokes on that. Luckily, my theater didn't get ruined by chicken jockeys, so we got lucky on that one. But I will never forget that experience. It is a lot of fun. Yes, it is a not good film. Yes, it should have been animated. Yes, it should have been a much more stronger film than what we got. But hey, it was a lot of fun. It was so funny. And the references throughout just put a smile on my face. Especially the Technoblade one. Technoblade never dies. Technoblade never dies. So good and so bad at the same time. I loved it. I don't care what you think. It is a shit post, but I loved it.
Number 15, Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Alright, time for the other video game adaptation that is very, very divisive. And I gotta say, I agree with a lot of it. But I think this is much better than the first film. I like the first film where it was, well, it was good, but I wished for a lot more of it. This one is objectively better. I felt like the characters had a lot more to do and they had much better arcs and all of that. I felt like that they were better utilized, especially the main characters. And the story, I would sooner rewatch it than the first one. The first one, it felt like it was incredibly slow and not a lot happened. And I really was just waiting for it to end by the end. This one is a lot more stronger, the pacing's better, the character dynamics are much more interesting, and it is a bit scary, I will say that. All the references in this is incredible. I was not expecting a lot of them. The ending is bizarre, funny, and yet stupid at the same time. The Michael Afton plot reveal is stupid. Scott should have never done that. Yeah, though the actual ending where the animatronics fight each other, I'm not kidding. Peak cinema. Overall, it is definitely a lot better than the first film. It is also not really that good, but hey, I really, really liked it. Though I am not going to be as lenient as with the third film if they are not going to make a competent film. I promise myself that will be the case.
Number 14, Predator, Killer of Killers.
Time for the Predator franchise again. This is a great animated film and a great Predator film as well. It captures the heart and essence of of what makes the Predator franchise so incredible, and it does it in a 3-act storyline with 3 separate stories mashed into one. Then it all joins together. I really liked it. The Viking one was really interesting, and I liked the emotional journey that the main character goes on. The Samurai was very, very compelling, and it just felt so whimsical and just so beautiful. And the World War II fighter pilot was really intriguing as well. The Predator designs are all cool, the soundtrack is great, and the animation is gorgeous as well. I definitely found this to be a really good time, and I really, really liked it. And I cannot wait to see what Dan Trachtenberg does with his next Predator franchise, because obviously he's going to continue with this.
Number 13, The First Day Murder Club.
I was not expecting something like this. It is so funny, so charming, and just so enjoyable to watch. I like the murder mystery aspect, and every new plot twist is just added on to the intrigue, and the ending was just really compelling as well. I found the casting to be solid enough all around, and I found it all to be so compelling. I like the characters; they're all interesting enough, and I just really enjoyed this. I found it to be very intriguing, and I just found it to be very enjoyable. It is definitely not the strongest film out there, but it is very much and a very, very enjoyable time.
Number 12, How to Train Your Dragon live action.
I remember sitting in the cinemas and not expecting the live action How to Train Your Dragon film to be phenomenal. Yes, it is not better than the original. It will never be better than the original. But it is an actual good movie. And I really enjoyed it. I was not expecting an incredibly enjoyable film from a live action remake. And here it is. I found the casting to be solid around, the emotional journey with a lot of the characters to be really intriguing. I like Hiccup and Astrid in this one a lot more than I did in the original version. I felt like they had a lot more emotional connection in this, but I'm sure that will progress a lot more with the inevitable sequel. Hiccup and Toothless's relationship with this is definitely as strong as the original, with many moments obviously being one for one recreated, but it is done in incredible well. And I think the acting is solid all around. I found the CGI and the practical live action cinematography to be really well done, and of course the score is ever iconic and just as incredible as ever. John Powell, you're amazing. Yeah, I definitely probably will be in the minority in this one, but I think this is an incredible film, even though it is absolutely unnecessary.
Number 11, Avatar: Fire and Ash.
This is a great film. I mean that, by the way. Yeah. Avatar: The Way of Water was a treat to watch in the cinemas. It was such a beautiful film, and it was just so incredible to watch. But I honestly felt like that the characters were pretty much mostly wasted. Well, half the characters were wasted, and they didn't really feel like they had much to do, and they just felt like they were on for the ride. And the story wasn't as strong as I was hoping it to be. With Fire and Ash, every character felt like that they had a role to play, and it felt like the story was a lot more cohesive and coherent, and it felt a lot more stronger and much more interesting. I still think Jake Sully's son is the most compelling character out of the bunch, and I really liked his story arc throughout the whole thing. I found the new Fire Nation to be really cool, though the main Navi lady villain, Varang and Quaritch, has way too much sexual tension that I was not expecting in an Avatar film. Though the first film has hair sex, so what am I supposed to say for that one? I found this to be an incredibly enjoyable time. It is a lot stronger than the second film, which I already thought was much more stronger than the first film. The CGI and the VFX is obviously incredible. It's James Cameron. What are you gonna do? And I definitely feel like this is a natural and good evolution of the Avatar franchise. You might not agree with me, but I think this is a solid enough time.
Number 10, The Naked Gun.
Hi. This is much later than the rest of the videos I've already recorded for the ranking video, and I am just putting off now. Anyways, this is the newest film I've watched, and it's The Naked Gun, and I gotta say, it's one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so hilariously funny. The jokes just constantly land on and on, just happens every 45 seconds, and I'm just all for it. I think the cast is solid. Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson are great leads in this, and I just love the comedic timing that they all bring, and the effectiveness of the effectiveness of just everything. It's just really funny. It's just really incredible. Additionally, I like that it is a legacy sequel instead of a remake, so that way we're not redoing what we did in the original trilogy, though I haven't watched the original trilogy of The Naked Gun, so I can't comment on whether or not it, I can't comment whether or not on those films, but for this, it's just a lot of fun. The story is great, the cast is great, the jokes are incredible, and I love Liam Neeson, so that's all I need to say.
Number 9, The Penguin Lessons.
Now, this is one of the films that is not released in 2025. It was released in 2024, but it was released in 2025 in the UK, so technically it counts. But I'm just pointing that out. Yeah. This was my most anticipated film of last year. I wanted to watch this so badly, and I finally got to watch it, and I loved it. It is such an incredible story with incredible acting, really good as well, really good acting with the Penguin and all that. Steve Coogan is a delight as always, and the emotional connection between all the characters with the students and the staff and Steve Coogan's character and all that. It was really compelling and enjoyable. It's based on a real life situation, and I just really like that. It's a good explanation on the times during the 70s where Argentina was not as free as they were hoping to be. And I just found the whole thing to be as interesting as the compelling stuff with the Penguin and all that. I found the whole thing to be really charming, the characters really interesting and likable, and it's just funny as well. I really enjoyed this. You might not agree with me, but I think this is a damn great time, and I just really, really, really liked it. Hey, I really loved it as well.
Number 8, Lost in Starlight.
Oh boy, if you think the other Korean animated film was stunning, you should watch this film. It is beautiful. It is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, and I will easily say it rivals or even tops the Spider-Verse films. I will stand by that. It is a beautiful film and is an incredible love story, which I loved. The main two characters, the main lovers, were just so compelling and interesting, and then their dynamics between each other with wanting to explore their passions but also wanting to stay together was just so compelling, and I was just waiting for them to resolve everything, and I was just wanting them to remain alive. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and I was wondering if they were gonna fall out, if one of them's gonna die, and it was just so incredible. It is a sci-fi love story that's just so beautiful and just so enjoyable and just so incredible. It really gave me the feels, and I just loved every single second of it. It is an incredible film. I don't want to give anything away. Go watch it. It is an incredible film, and I would say it honestly rivals the other Korean film, but let's be honest, I enjoyed the other Korean film a bit more, even though this is an incredible film. Objectively better than the other one.
Number 7, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah. Even though Lost in Starlight is objectively better, I still enjoyed K-pop Demon Hunters so much more. I mean, it's the film of the year. Sure, Sinners is probably the film of the year, but K-pop Demon Hunters definitely has left a cultural impact unlike anything else. Much like Puss in Boots, let's be honest. That film left an impact in 2022, and this film will leave an impact in 2025. Much more than so many of the other films that was released this year. I found the characters to be very intriguing and compelling. Their story arc about shame was really interesting. I found the romance between Rumi and Gino to be very interesting and compelling. The songs are bangers, and I still listen to How It's Done to this day in the car. I am not going to apologize. It is such a great song. I found the story to be very engaging, the voice acting to be really good, and the visuals just be incredible. I really, really like this, and I'm so glad that it exists. And yeah, it's not my favourite animated film of the year. That honour goes to...
Number 6, Zootropolis 2.
Yeah. Disney won. Disney won. At least being the best animated film of 2025, in my opinion. I found this to be so compelling, the story to be very interesting, the character dynamics to be really engaging, and it is such a funny film. There are so many jokes that happen one after another, and I just can't hold my breath because it's just all so funny. You can laugh at one joke and completely forget another, and it's just so good. I really, really like this film, and I'm so glad that we got something that is great from Disney after 10 years. It is a really incredible film. I like the connection. I like the growth that Nick and Judy goes on with each other. The expansion of the world with reptiles and the aquatic mammals and all that. That was a natural evolution. I found the villains to be compelling, and there's a twist villain in this that actually works. God damn, how did they do that? And the whole thing is just so enjoyable all around. I found the characters to be all intriguing, even though that a lot of them felt like they should have been a much more better utilized than they actually were. But it is just a great time all around, and I'm so glad to have watched this on Christmas Eve.
Number 5, The Running Man.
I don't care what you say, this is great. This is really, really great. I think the direction that Edgar Wright does is really strong. The characters are very compelling. And I just found the whole story to be very intriguing. I like that this is a more accurate rendition on the Running Man story than the Arnie one ever was. And there's a reference to Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film, and that's really cool. I really like that. I found the whole emotional journey with the main character to be so compelling and interesting. I found the story and just everything about this to be so incredibly enjoyable. It's just a really great time, and I just found the whole thing to be just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Yeah, and there's just so much to talk about this, and it's just a lot of fun, and I just really, really liked it. That's pretty much all it is. I just really liked it. I'm allowed to like whatever I want, and I really liked this.
Number 4, Predator Badlands.
I don't care what you say, Predator Badlands is my favorite out of the Predator films. It takes the idea of the Predator and takes it into a new direction that is very interesting and really intriguing as well. I found the emotional connection between Dec and Fia to be very compelling, and then forming a found family in the end was very, very much interesting, with them breaking away from their toxic families and all that. That was really enjoyable. The CG and the VFX, whilst it is very muted, is interesting enough, and the whole world that the Predator does, the whole world the Predator in this explores is really engaging and incredible. And I found the whole thing to be just a really enjoyable time, and I really liked it.
Number 3, Sinners.
I should have watched this back in February, or whenever this film came out. And it is incredible. Oh my god. I was not expecting a film like this to be that incredible. I really love the whole story behind this, or during this, or whatever it is. The acting is incredible. The story is incredible. The music is goddamn great. And the cinematography and the editing matched all together with that incredible one long take with all the ancestors joining in. That is cinema, baby. That is cinema. And Ryan Coogler, you are a goddamn legend. Oh my god. I'm really glad that we're getting more mainstream things with vampires again. Especially the fact that they are monsters, actual evil monsters. That is cool. And the whole emotional journey throughout the whole thing is just so incredible. I really loved this film, and I really wish that I watched this earlier on in the year. And I'm waiting to see if this will actually get nominated for the Oscars. I really hope it does, especially Best Picture. And especially for Best Supporting Actor, Miles Caton. You, my guy, were incredible in this. Michael B. Jordan, you were great. Haley Steinfeld, you were great. But Miles Caton, ain't this your first role? This is your first role in a film, and you've already proven yourself to be as great as Michael B. Jordan. How do you do that? How do you do that? Overall, it is a incredible film, and I'm so glad to have finally watched it. I'm sure everyone else agrees with me, but this is definitely one of the best films of the year, and it is definitely in everyone's top 10.
Number 2, F1.
I loved this. I wish I saw this in the cinemas as well. Because this is a film that needs to be seen on the big screen. It just makes an incredible impression on you when you first watch it, and it just sticks with you the entire way. I found the characters to be all compelling and interesting, with the dynamics that they all form and the bonds to be very engaging. The practical effects and the stunt works is done very well, and it makes you want to get into F1 a lot. I found it interesting. I found the whole racing, especially during the final race, to be so thrilling and so engaging. I was on the edge of my seat, just silent and all that. It was so enjoyable, and I definitely feel like that Joseph Kosinski has my full trust for whatever it is he's going to make in the future. Overall, you might not agree with me, but F1 is incredible, and I'm so glad to have finally watched it. But there is one more film that blew me away even more.
Number 1, Frankenstein.
Let me tell you a story. When I was watching this for the first time, opening release date in my room on Netflix, even though I really wish that this came out in the theaters. When I was watching this, I was so sucked in and so in awe with everything that the only time that I paused this, which was to stop my dog from barking, I had 30 minutes left in the film. Even though it felt like it was halfway through the film for me. That's how much I was invested in this. I was so invested in this film that the only time I paused it, I realized that I had 30 minutes left, even though I felt like that I had so much more going on. That's how much I loved this film, and that's how much I wanted it to keep on going. It's an incredible adaptation of the Frankenstein story, with incredible effects, with practical makeup being incredible, that needs to win an Oscar, with acting that is phenomenal, especially with the likes of Oscar Isaac, Christoph Waltz, Mia Goth, and especially Jacob Elordi, which I desperately want to win Best Supporting Actor in this. He is incredible, and the makeup, again, is so good. Come on, it's Guillermo del Toro. It's Guillermo del Toro. This film is obviously going to win some Oscars. Come on. It's obviously going to win some. I want this film to win the Oscars. I want this to win Best Picture. Sure, there are other films that are out there that are definitely much better than this film, but I don't care. This is my film of the year. This is my pick. I love Guillermo del Toro. He is one of my favorite directors, and I'm so glad to have watched this, because I knew if I did not watch it, I was never going to watch it. And I watched it, I loved it, and boy, do I want to watch this again now. Just incredible. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Out of all the films that I watched this year, I think these ones were such a good collection. But I will mention a few films that I have not watched. Yeah, I have not watched as of the time I'm recording this, so I'll give brief honorable mentions and all that. Weapons. I'm sure it is an incredible film, but I do not do horror, and unlike Sinners, which I handled, I will definitely not be able to handle a film like this. Sure, it is definitely incredible and is definitely won awards and all that, but it's just not up my alley. I'm sure. One battle after another. I was never really that interested in PTA. Let's be honest. Sure, I will watch one of his films one day, but I don't know. None of his films really attracted me and all that. Wake Up Dead Man. I never watched any of the Knives Out films, so this is not going to fare any better. As well as any of the Mission Impossible films, so The Final Reckoning. Have not watched it. I guess it's all good. Happy Gilmore 2. I've not watched the original either, but this one is apparently really bad. The Phoenician. Twice now, I wanted to watch one of Wes Anderson's films in the theaters, but I never gotten around to it. Last one was Asteroid City, and now the Phoenician. I just never gotten around to it. I don't know why. I really am not happy. Adolescence. I was planning on watching it, but I don't know, just never gone around to it. I'm not really good with TV shows and all that. Marty Supreme and Begonia, not up my alley. Die My Love, I'm sure that's interesting. Jennifer Lawrence is in this, but no. Together, that did intrigue me, but horror, no, I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, Death of a Unicorn. I forgot that came out there last year. I wanted to watch it, but I never got around to it. Yeah, a lot of these films I have not watched, but the ones that I did watch, I'm hoping that they are a good selection and all that. So that's the end of this video, I guess. I'm sure I'll get back to my regular release after I did this, I guess. Yeah, this is my list of every film that I watched in 2025 ranked. So tell me what you think of all these films that I've watched. And please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below of any other films you'd like me to watch next. Yeah, this channel is just for a third, fourth, fifth perspective and all that. And I'm hoping to at least give you a different opinion on a film that you might have liked or a film you might have not liked, and seen it through fresh eyes. So finally, I want to say thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I will see you later. Have a good one.